Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, you know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Sports Rap, this is BCSN Network and a trilogy of all the big time components of the show, the pregame show. But without further ado, let's really get to what everybody wants to know. We have the commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, Dr. Charles McClelland. How's it going?
It's going very well, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. Going well.
Man, this gentleman and I go way back. We say it. We won't get into that because y'all have heard it before, but that's why you see us cracking up when we talk to each other. Because in a lot of ways, I would say at least, I'm living a dream, and I would think in some ways you're living a dream.
Well, you know, I thought about today, Dr. Cavil, I think it was about 13 years ago that I was athletics director at Pregame, and we came to one of these and we flew back together on Southwest Airlines, and I talked to you about my dream of possibly one day being the commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. You fast forward, we're sitting here, 100-year anniversary of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, new building, first building that we've owned in the history of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We've expanded from 10 schools to 12 schools, unprecedented spring as far as exposure and just all that you could ask for in a football season. And then we're going into this fall 2021 season. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm very excited.
I'm excited. Brian, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I could tell by seeing that look. I could tell that you two probably shared this thought somewhere. I was just trying to imagine. I was imagining on some long road trip in a car somewhere, you guys are kind of sharing stories about what things are going to look like 10 years from now.
It was actually at a pool party that Kenyatta threw. He stole somebody's house and threw a pool party. So that's when we started.
Yeah, Big 50. And some of y'all know what that's reference for. The Big 50 was in one of those moves, and he shared the house. And so the commissioner he's on point with that. He was actually the DJ. What you all don't know, the backstory is the fact that the commissioner is extremely talented. He is also a DJ. Well, at least he was a DJ.
Yeah, I'm giving it up.
On the team, and we've heard all these interesting things over the course of the years about you, Dr. McClelland. That's awesome.
I had somebody to walk up to me one day, Kenya. I know we got to get into the business. Hey, I know you. And I was like, yeah. I thought they was going to say you the commissioner. They say you DJ. I was like, no, it's not me.
Well, with all that, what are some of the big matchups that you're looking forward to? I know in your position, is it that hard to really say for week in and week out, or do you?
That's tough, Doc. I've had several meetings with Andrew, our assistant commissioner for media relations, and it's difficult. I mean, we looked at the schedule, and we're going to be announcing our TV package.
Okay.
We actually had to take games off because we could not physically deliver all of the games that we wanted to deliver. There are some weeks where there are 4 games that's going to have 25,000 plus in the stands. Week 1, you have probably the biggest matchup, Florida A&M and Jackson State. I mean, whoever wins that game is going to have the heads up in the Eastern Division. Prairie View, Texas Southern, they always play Labor Day Classic, but history has shown whoever wins that game has a leg up in the Western Division race. But then you slide Alcorn State into the Western Division, it looks totally different now.
Yeah, it really does.
What I'm going to be interested to see is once the announcement is made on the predicted order of finish, where do you put Florida A&M in the East? Where do you put Bethune-Cookman in the East? Where do you put Alcorn in the West? Where do you put Arkansas at Pine Bluff that went to the championship game and has everybody coming back? Where do you put them? Do you put them over Alcorn? Alcorn did not participate in the spring. Do they have everybody coming back? Are they going to be as prepared as everybody else that played in the spring? Each and every week it's tough. I can tell you this.
What?
I have frequent flyer miles already logged in because each and every week there's going to be somewhere that you have to be.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to be 2 or 3. The one thing that I can tell our fans watching, each and every week within the Southwestern Athletic Conference, you're going to get a minimum of 2 games. Some weeks you're going to have 4. So if you can't make it, sit back, relax. You're going to be able to see them on TV.
Yeah, and there's one of those weeks that just really amazes me. There's a week where there's like 6 games where all 12 teams are playing each other. And I think there's 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 like that. I was doing a little matrix, of the whole season, and there's like 2 or 3 weeks where nobody has a bye, everybody's playing.
Yeah, it's going to be simply amazing. Getting back to some of the business parts of this, what a lot of people are really fascinated, and I know that is extremely important to where you are pushing the Southwestern Athletic Conference. What are some of the business things that you're most excited about or most proud of that has taken place over the last year and a half?
Well, we've had a tremendous uptick in sponsors. And again, a lot of it has to do with the momentum that we was able to garner. You know, we were very, very nervous entering into this COVID environment. And I know George Floyd's daughter says that my father is going to change the world. And that was significant. I cannot tell you, based upon that young man's passing, the influx of corporate support that we got, wanting now to support the minority community. And again, what better way to support it through the Southwestern Athletic Conference, that now 12 institution to educate our young minds. George Floyd has definitely changed the world, and he has made a significant impact on the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So from a sponsorship perspective, our numbers are starting to escalate to a point to where they're making a significant difference. Cricket obviously was with us. They upped their commitment. Pepsi came in, they upped their commitment, and those are dollars that are going to fund our championships, fund scholarships. As a matter of fact, and you know a lot about this, Toyota came in and funded an initiative where they wanted the top students of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. They got 30 of our top students, 3 9s in engineering, 3 8s in business, and from my understanding, they hired 7 of them in full-time permanent jobs. Now, my first job, it was at Prairie View A&M University.
Right.
I made $21,000 a year. I'll never forget it. It was $1,313.13 a month.
Yeah.
These students are signing 6-figure deals coming out of college.
Wow.
That's the significance of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I couldn't get in anywhere other than Prairie View. Some of our other students don't have 36 on the SAT to be able to get into these elite institutions. They're going to our 12-member institutions, getting these degrees, and that is the significance of what George Floyd has brought. That is the significance of what this football notoriety has brought, and that's why our institutions are where they are now. We educate our young minds and graduate them to be productive citizens.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Bigger facility this year, both in terms of COVID-19 spreading people out, but also the anticipation of many those involved. And I know record number of those that applied, media credentials. You have a lot of executive people here that are supporting this initiative. Talk about the growth that you've seen with those that are wanting to cover the Southwestern Athletic Conference along with HBCUs.
Yeah, last media day was 2019. We moved it to the Western. And we had a quaint room, and it was a very successful. I think we had, 50-something odd media, which was significant for us. As we transition again with a robust spring, with all of the notoriety that we've had with our coaches, student athletes. We had 2 teams to finish in the top 20, 3 teams, to finish in the top 25 in the FCS polls last year. A lot of notoriety. This year we had to move to the Sheraton. We had 212 media outlets to request credentials, and the last that I saw, we had 156 that are actually here in attendance. So when you look at, going from 50 plus to 150 plus, it shows you the value and the significance and the forward progression of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So we had to get a bigger ballroom. We're on ESPN3. We had press row, a lot of those press row, was radio. Now press row is comprised of multi-cameras and, lights and producers and guys in the back. This is where the Southwestern Athletic Conference is going. And I'm telling you, the best has yet to arrive.
Wow.
We are moving forward, and we're going to continue to forge ahead. We are a premier conference.
I agree.
Now the nation is starting to see it.
I agree with that 100%. A premier conference. You mentioned a little bit with this, as we get into this new year, one of the big topics, we are still, at least in a pandemic, according to, I don't think we've officially come out of it, even though it feels like it. And that's one thing I do have to say. It's great seeing so many people that have been vaccinated here. Which goes to show how comfortable people are. But coming into this upcoming year, I think I heard you mention the potential concerns regarding COVID or those vaccinations or positive tests. We've seen how it has affected in other sports. Baseball took a team right out of the championship Final Four, so to speak. And the Olympics, it's affecting athletes going over to Tokyo. Where do we want teams to be? Where do you want teams to be in terms of vaccination rates? And I guess before I don't want to hit you with two questions at once, so I'll just ask, where do you want teams to be with vaccination rates before I go into maybe a second question?
100% vaccinated. Let's make no mistake about it. This is not about playing football games. I think we demonstrated in the spring we can play football games. Mm-hmm. This is about saving lives. I have a 3-year-old daughter, right? I don't want someone carrying the coronavirus spreading that to my daughter. The same way you don't want me spreading it to your significant others. Just imagine a starting quarterback in the Southwestern Athletic Conference getting ready to play the most important game of their lives, and they're not able to play it because of a positive COVID test because they did not get vaccinated. Can you imagine the Olympians that have trained their entire career for this one moment, and you cannot participate because you didn't get a COVID vaccination? So it's proven to be safe. I was one of the first. I got my vaccination in January. And my wife, she didn't want it, but she understood the importance of this is life and death. This is not about a playing football game. We can create an environment to where we can play football games. We want to save lives. But at the same time, we're not going to put you out there to jeopardize someone else's health and safety. But because of the vaccination, and the pandemic hasn't ended, we're in a new pandemic. The Delta variant is rising. It's going to continue to rise, but it is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. So those of us that have been vaccinated and have our cards, we're going to be able to move forward. We want 100%. It's not because we want you out there playing football. We do, but it's because we want you to be here 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now without any ailments or dying now because you did not want to get vaccinated. As a baby, you have to take certain shots. Right? You don't know it. This vaccination, at best, a sore arm and some sniffles for life protection of a virus that have taken out millions and millions of people. So, again, I don't want this to sound like we're doing this so we can play football games. We play football games. At Jackson State, I made a joke about it earlier. We're supposed to be limited capacity. They said they had 19,000. They had about 40,000. So people are coming out, right? Yeah. We know how to play games. We want our student athletes to be safe.
And so how are you? And so with that said, you're communicating that to your teams, your administration, and they're trying to communicate that down to their players and fans. Worst case scenario, though, if it doesn't happen, or if what are the protocols or policies in place should a team have a worst case scenario that you brought up? Starting quarterback might get hit with a positive test. What's the policy? How does that play out?
Well, hopefully coaches have a really good backup quarterback because that quarterback won't play. And all of our coaches have to ensure that they have enough vaccinated bodies to be able to get through the season. If you don't play your games, they will be forfeited.
So the contact, I guess my thought is, I know the contact tracing was a thing that tagged a lot of people previously. So now is it similar? It sounds like that similar process or that similar rule is not in place.
Great question. If you are vaccinated, all of those COVID protocols no longer exist for you. Only test if you have symptoms. If you're not vaccinated, you will follow the same protocols that we had in the spring. 3 PCR tests, 1 day of game. You must wear your mask. You must stay 6 feet apart unless you're on the football field. If you come into close contact, that's an automatic 14 days, whether you test positive or not. If you come into close contact with someone, and our managers and trainers on campus did an outstanding job, in some instances too outstanding of a job. They were 100% for health and safety. If somebody sneezed, you're in a 14-day quarantine, right? So you cannot risk not having the vaccination. You might not catch COVID, but if you're around Kenyatta and he has COVID, you're done for 14 days. Can you imagine missing the Orange Blossom Classic because you were in a hotel room, somebody sneezed, and now you're in a 14-day quarantine process? Get your vaccination.
No doubt about it. Last thing we have they have released the predicted order of finish.
Oh, okay.
Excited about that in terms of what that news looked like. Surprised to some, not to others. Starting from the bottom, SWAC Eastern Division, Mississippi Valley, 25 votes. Bethune-Cookman, 71 votes. Alabama State, 76 votes. Jackson State, 80 votes. Florida A&M, 109 votes. Alabama A&M, they won in the spring. Not just the Southwestern Athletic Conference, but the National Black College Championship, 122 votes.
I can see that.
In the SWAC Western Division, Texas Southern, 37 votes. Arkansas Pine Bluff, 68 votes. Prairie View, 78 votes. Grambling State, 85 votes. Southern, 108 votes. And Alcorn State, 128 votes. The 2019 SWAC champion. Player of the Year, Akil Glass, Alabama A&M.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year, Jordan Lewis, Southern.
Yeah.
No surprises with that. But that was dynamic in terms of folks being excited where they are. Everybody was predicting their order of finish. There was a lot of talk all week long in terms of what that looks like. So it's just another step when you see the interest of what that looks like. And we'll talk about this the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm just a commissioner. I don't vote, but I don't know about that Arkansas Pine Bluff thing.
I thought that was kind of low.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's interesting.
I was very impressed.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, they just ran out of time against Alabama A&M. They were there to score. They could have very well won the championship. But again, this is what we've said about the Southwestern Athletic Conference. All of those teams.
Yeah.
If you're saying Arkansas at Pine Bluff is the 5th best team in the Western Division and they made it to the SWAC championship game, just imagine what all of our games are going to be like. One thing that I do want to talk about that I think is going to be very intriguing to the fans is our protocol for voting for first team and second team.
Okay.
And we had a lot of debate about this in the office, and ultimately what you're going to see is teams that participated in the spring are going to have a leg up. So part of our conference policy is if you were first team in the preceding season, you're automatically first team in the preseason. And if you were second team and the first team slot is open, you automatically roll into that slot.
Okay.
So ultimately what has happened is Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, and Alcorn State did not participate in the spring. We could not skip over spring and go to fall and say, well, we're going to judge what you did in the fall. So in that predicted order of finish, it's sports information directors and coaches. In the first team and second team and player of the year, it's the same group. But those parameters are there in order for them to vote. So I know Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M and Alcorn will say, hey, what about our guys? Yeah. The fact that they did not participate in the spring, we could not skip over the spring and go to the preceding fall because Charles McClelland could have been the best player in the nation in 19, but we can't skip 20 to get to 20.
I'm glad you said that, because you know that is going to be a talking point in certain states and in certain areas. Like, where's our guy at? And yeah.
But that makes sense in terms of that. It's what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
We talk a lot about that.
But again, this is a policy that's been within the conference. It was voted upon ultimately by the coaches.
Okay.
We debated whether or not we change it in this COVID environment, and we just erred on the side of let's not tinkle with our policies in that fashion. Who is going to be the best from a student athlete's perspective will be determined
Through the course of play.
In about 5 weeks.
I'll let you close it out.
Well said. I thank you for your time. Obviously, it's a busy day, great crowd. I know you got a lot of other people to say hello to and a lot of other interviews. So I want to give you the last word. Anything? I mean, that was great right there. But, I mean, if there's anything else you want to add, please share.
Just want to thank you. Want to thank the fans that tune in. I ultimately watch you guys a lot. You know, I get in my cubby hole and I do my search and I listen. And sometimes I want to call in and tell you you're wrong and cuss you out. Don't do that. But I just want to thank you for, you know, the continuing coverage. You guys were covering this when it wasn't that popular. You know, there are a lot of other people trying to integrate into the space now. And you will forever have my commitment, you know, to coming on your show and giving you all of the information, because I am extremely thankful for what you've done for the Southwestern Athletic Conference and HBCU sports as a whole. So thanks again.
Thank you. Dr. Charles McClelland, Commissioner, Southwestern Athletic Conference. We will be back right after these words with more interviews and guests right here on this BCSN Game Time with Dr. Cavil's inside the HBCU Sports Lab and the Sports Wrap.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It was a monumental game for A&M and Tampa. It was a monumental game. Somebody had to lose, and thank God it was them this time.
We knew it was going to be a battle. Look at Jake Ave's record. 202 and 36, I think, some off-the-wall figures.
And nobody would play him because they didn't want to take a chance of getting beat. But the truth of it is,
over 46,000 tickets. Blacks were sitting in the east stands. Whites were sitting in the west stands. And the score wound up 34-28.
The only thing we proved that we wasn't inferior, that we were not inferior, and we were not afraid.
For one night, for 160 minutes, we was better than them.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together we can be the change.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies.
And welcome back in live here on the pregame show here on the Black College Sports Network. Charles Bishop, Neely, and of course, our coach, Coach Brown.
That joker came in so cold.
Hey, man, he cold.
I mean, like, you could be like, man, what's up, man, welcome back. That joker came in like.
He is the professional of this group.
Hey, God.
Chuck bring it, man. He brings it.
No doubt. Coach, your first SWAC Media Day.
Loving it.
Full-fledged.
Loving it. I'm loving it for the kids.
Sure.
Because, you can prepare them, but you can't prepare them until they get to the real thing. Yeah. So you give them the frequently asked questions, the questions you want them to hit our smart, fast, tough discipline. You want them to be prepared for everything. Yeah. But to see them and to see how clean and well impeccably dressed they are. I love it, man.
They are. And they're doing good, man. I had a chance to listen in on some of the interviews. The lights are bright, but they have not shied away. You brought two leaders with you.
Amen. Well, that's they earned it.
Yeah.
I didn't bring them. They brought themselves. They earned it. Nyles, man, you got to understand, had to clean up his stuff in the classroom, knuckled up, and he did it. On the field, he's a grown man. In the weight room, conditioning, just leadership role. I mean, he rolled back with me one day from practice or somewhere, and we just had a candid conversation just about taking it to another level of leadership. And since the day Shedeur stepped on campus, he's been the same type of guy.
He has.
Yeah.
He has.
Coach,
go ahead, Chuck.
One of the things, and Neely and I were talking about even last night, was looking back in the 80s and 90s, the level of competition that Jackson State had back in the day. And with your recruiting ability, you have brought this standard, this level of competition back into Jackson State's program. Talk a little bit about just that aspect of getting us back to the upper tier of the SWAC.
We have an expectation, and the expectation is to win. The expectation is to go pro. The expectation is to be better persons, better men, better sons, better nephews, grandchildren, better friends, better teammates. So it's all about improvement of man. That's what we're all about. And these kids, man, I'm so proud of them. I don't like to say committed. They all in, man.
Yeah.
They all in on. And we talk all the time about we're the only team, and it's really still the first season. But the expectation is to win, not by just them outside, but everybody in the locker room. Yeah. We expect to win. So it's a bust with us.
Yes, sir. You talked about that intangible leadership quality that the guys with you today, they earned these spots.
Yes, they did.
One of the things I witnessed that our fans did get to see is you were the only coach, those were the only players that got up and went to every team to shake hands, introduce, get a feel. Talk about that leadership aspect in Jackson State being at the forefront of making that move.
That's professionalism. That's professionalism. And it's not saying that's how you work the room, but that's how you work the room. That's professionalism. We want to touch everything inside that room. When we're in that stadium, we want to touch every kid, every elder, every alumni, every fan inside that stadium. We want to touch you and ignite you and make you think and dream and profess something. We want you to have some type of opinion.
Yeah.
We want the opinion to be gracious.
Yeah.
But we're going to have some type of opinion, and our kids, just to see them go shake their future opponent's hand and look them in the eye and introduce themselves, man, so they can have a relationship, man. These kids, they need to have relationships. Ain't nobody talk no more. Everybody's right here on the damn phone. Talk, communicate.
I thought that was a big moment for them. I thought it was a good look for the brand.
Yes.
You know, that we led the way in doing it, under your leadership to see it happen. I tell you something else I saw, Coach. Now, we hear, and this is a spirit of marketing, brand, and camaraderie, but when they were shaking hands, I saw some of those other players go, man, those some big boys. They looked apart now. And I talked to Nyles about that. I said, Nyles, I saw you get a couple of looks now. He said, yeah, I want them to see me.
And I told him to shake their hand and turn real slow. Real slow, like a car. Like turn real slow. Turn real slow. So they can see it all.
I think they've seen it, and it's coming.
It's coming.
Coach, we're some 40-some-odd days now from the Orange Blossom Class.
Only that many?
Only that many.
Wow.
Is there an excitement in terms of getting to fall practice and going through the process?
Yes. We're coming off a tremendous coaching seminar. Willie Taggart, Charles Kelly, Jason Garrett, Eric Bieniemy, just to name a few. Phenomenal, encouraged, inspired, motivated, took our coaches to yet another level of where we want to be. And it increased the expectation. And I told the coaches, I'm not giving you this and I don't expect nothing back. Anytime someone gives something, they want to get something back. Don't let this be misunderstood. God loves a cheerful giver. That's what the Bible says. But I expect something back. All right. When I put my money in the Pepsi machine, I expect something to come out. You see how I got that sponsor?
Yeah, I heard that.
I just
it's
got that sponsor now.
I'm learning. Yeah, I told Shedeur earlier, I said, let me touch the hem of your door so I can be made whole.
So we had a father-son moment this morning, man, that I love. Like I know he was coming to the room. He's gonna come to the room. I know he wasn't gonna bring a tie, so I'm gonna have to have 5 or 6 ties to see what he want. Then whatever he don't choose, I get it. So he put his suit on, came on back after I gave him the tie, and he just profiling. He just looking. Then I put mine on. I said, all right, well, don't think you got me today. Now, I got you. I'm the father. I'm still the father here. He's like, hey, no, Dad, I expect that from you. I can't applaud you from doing what you're supposed to do. I said, he getting it. He said, I can't applaud you for doing what you're supposed to do. I said, remember that.
Yeah.
So when you're throwing a touchdown to 2 or 3 or 4, I'm not going to applaud you for doing what you're supposed to do.
Like we hear brothers on the street say, I take care of my kids.
You're supposed to.
Yeah, that's
right. I'm a good daddy. You're supposed to be. But that was a great father-son moment.
I think so too, man. That's good stuff.
Coach, and from your coach hat, are you looking forward to those sort of father-son moments? You said in terms of 2 starters, Shedeur and Dylan Spencer, but just in taking a look at his progression, his maturity, coming in as a freshman, there'll be a target on him.
Let me tell you something about Shedeur. Shedeur has been down with COVID for the last, I think, week and a half or whatever the protocol is. He's been down. But the coaches kept in contact with him. He stayed at my house for a few days until he just got tired of me. So then he left, of course. He said my Wi-Fi didn't work and couldn't play his video games while he down.
I'm going to vouch for him on that.
Yes,
our calls drop a lot.
True.
True. I'm
True.
going to vouch for him.
True. So Shedeur is already breaking down fam. Shedeur has watched several games from 2019. He's already in, okay, let's put this in. We need to put it. That's the way he functions. That's the way he thinks. So he loves the expectation. On the break before he went down with COVID, Shedeur was in Houston working out with his quarterback coach, Darryl, and Trash was there working it too, the pro quarterback. So I'm like, how did you compete? He said, honestly, the ball was coming out of there. He was getting that ball out. That ball had something on it. Like, I said, okay, that's good. Now you see the expectation. So called me back the next day. He said, I got him today. I got him today.
Yeah.
He said, that ball was coming out from mound on today. I got him today. And the footwork and all that. So he just always wants to fine-tune his game and his understanding of the game. And I love that about it.
I asked him out front. Him and Nyles were sitting there, so I was talking to both players. You know, what you're looking for from the day. Here's what Shedeur's response was. I'm looking back, get back to work.
That's who he is, man.
He's like, this is
an inconvenience to him.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm missing practice.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel. I'm missing practice.
Yeah.
And so that's who he is, man. That's who he is.
Coach, you mentioned this past spring gave you a tremendous insight in
It
terms
did.
of what you needed. Does that give you, I guess, a bump going into the fall in terms of, okay, here's what we needed, here's the wants. I think I got it.
I don't know if it's a bump, but it was wonderful to have. I'm so darn thankful for the spring.
Sure.
Because if it had not been for the spring, I'll be still sitting with a locker room full of, I don't know what they're going to do when the heat is on.
Yeah.
Full of dudes like that that's looking at me like a deer, like I saw on the sideline when we going like, come on, let's go, we can win this game. And I'm like, they looking at me like,
Talking to me. Can I go to the locker room?
Coach, I ain't built like that. I know you ain't. Don't worry about it. I got something for that. So I'm glad we had that because it's a tremendous evaluation, not only for the kids, but the coaches, though.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, and the kicking game as well.
Yeah.
So I can honestly sit here and say unequivocally, we've upgraded every position. It's not one position that we hadn't addressed.
Sure.
It's not one position that's not better than it was this past spring. And then those positions I'm talking about, they're competitive.
Yeah.
They have, like, you miss a practice if you want to. Okay.
Sure.
Go, see, we don't. I don't tell the kids you got to get your COVID shots. You got to get vaccinated. I wish they would.
Yeah.
But hey, man. Now you know if you go out, you out for 2 weeks. Now 2 weeks.
Dynamic change then.
Yeah.
It's
next man.
yeah.
Because the next man is just as good. Ain't no big drop off.
It could be a Walter Payton come out of nowhere in 2 weeks.
Yeah. You had a cameraman come
Right.
out.
Yeah. It could be something special that can happen in 2 weeks. So that's on y'all. I can't force you to get vaccinated, but I strongly encourage you to.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I mean, Neely's around. I'm really excited.
And I appreciate the access. The pregame show, man. We
You in
our
there?
fans.
So
man.
I was showering the other day. Neely was like, "You need a soap." That's how close he in there, man. He in
We're
there.
not gonna mention the name of the soap because
Yeah. He in there. He in there. Like Neely is in there.
Yeah.
He beat me to practice nowadays.
I see. I get the text.
We gotta give Chuck because Chuck the professional. Man. You know, I just watched Jackson that thing, but Chuck got that.
He got
I call
that.
him, he my Mike Tirico.
Yeah. With the little Barry White in it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, Coach, you touched on something that we talked about last night that I'm looking forward to. Now, I'm finna get in your wheelhouse a little bit. You had a lot of turnover on the team. So you learned this spring, and now this team comes from. It's a really different.
It's a whole different team.
But let me tell you what's the same. That's the coaching staff.
Yeah.
So I was telling Chuck just last night, I'm looking forward to the growth of the staff. Because when we faced Southern, I think Southern was probably the only team we played that was a better team than us on that
Much
day.
better.
But what's lost in that translation, that staff had been together 9 years. Now we got a staff that's had a spring together. So I know the players have changed. But now you got coordinators and position coaches that have worked together for a spring and a summer. And the lights have been bright and it's been competitive. That's what I'm looking for, that flip to turn.
And it should. It should. You should see improvement in that. You should see improvement in all of us, me included, in situational football as well as preparing, the preparation, practice scheduling. There's a lot goes into that stuff, and that stuff has to be on point to get what you want out of these young men because they're willing. They're more than willing to do whatever we ask because they want it. They not only want to go to pro and take care of the families and the siblings and everything, but these kids want to make a mark. They want to make a difference. They get it. Like they understand what we have is something special, and they get it. And they really want to be a major part of that. Sure. They truly do.
It is special, bro.
It is very
I can't, you know what, man, last night I went to the room afterwards after we ate dinner, and I watched like the second show of the documentary. I can't wait till y'all see it. Because it's real. I can't. It captured everything behind the curtains of the season last year. I cannot wait till you see it.
The highs and the
you know
lows.
I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. Y'all gonna get that.
Y'all
gonna
heard
get
that. Coach, I think that's your camera right there.
Oh, I know what my camera is. I believe I know what my camera is. I don't know nothing.
So we get to see.
If I don't know nothing on TV, I learn with my camera.
No doubt.
I just want them to look in your camera here. Our coach say.
Y'all, because it's a trust.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I trust y'all.
Yes, sir.
I trust y'all. I trust y'all with me. I trust y'all with my kids. I trust y'all with this program. I really do. But y'all are good.
And you hit on something there. I appreciate the relationship and the trust, but the fact that you trust us with the players, that's another level.
Yeah, that's a different.
Because y'all are not trying to use them to catapult yourself somewhere like this other fool right here somewhere that I can't wait to check today. And you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
The kid is a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about that fool, but the kid.
Yeah.
You're attacking a kid?
Yeah.
You're trying to undress and uncover a kid? For what? And then you have the wrong information that you extracted. So now you set yourself up for a lawsuit. Because now you're dealing with...
And you know it's wrong, but in an attempt to be first and get the big splash,
and you messed it up.
Attack a child.
But the kid hadn't pled it. It's a lie.
Yeah.
It's court case today. And you already put that out. So now you're messing with his potential income. Because you got that, what, NIL?
Yeah.
So now you're getting ready to be sued. That don't make sense.
Sure.
What comes off of that? Like, what?
A like, a share. But what we value, like you touched on, we value the relationship capital. Everything we do on the pregame show is about the program and the student athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether 5 people like it or 5,000, we're never going to do anything that harms the student athlete.
Kids are
that
kids,
harms the
man.
program. Yeah, this is somebody's child.
The kids is somebody's child, and there's more people involved in this. And I guarantee you this gentleman didn't talk to any of the people involved.
No.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
We did all our homework and all our assessment.
There's certain things that we, and I know you know, that we pick up at practice.
Mhm.
He never sees a lot of that.
True.
Because that's coaching. That's something that's a father-son type relationship between the coach
That's
and
right.
player. That needs
Yeah.
to stay in-house. So folks are here to say, hey, man, y'all should have showed this. What happened in practice? No, we don't do that.
Right.
If it's not in the best interest of the student-athlete and the program.
Jackson State, yeah.
Why was HBCUs created?
Take care of us.
To take care of us.
Take care of us.
When did we stop doing that?
We lost the way. Somewhere along the way.
But we got to get back and take care of us.
Yeah.
So if a kid is bleeding on the sidewalk, I'm going to go help him and get him into the spiritual
Yes, sir.
hospital.
Sure.
There's
Yes,
a guy
sir.
named Adam Jones that everyone abandoned. I went and grabbed him, cleaned him up. Guess what? Jerry Jones got him and moved him a block down from me, 2 houses down from me when he played with the Cowboys.
Pac-Man.
Wow.
I could go on and on with multiple stories.
Tyrone, the Tunney Badger, he tells the same story that
Yeah.
that you reached out to him.
There's
That everybody threw him away, but he heard from Coach Brown.
There's a kid named Alonzo Spellman. I know you know Alonzo
Yeah.
Spellman with the Bears. You remember he had the whole incident?
Correct.
I saw him crying out on television. I said, Jerry, I can help that young man. Jerry sent a jet to pick that kid up the next day. He was still broken and battered and wasn't mentally stable. We got him the help he needed. Went on to play several more years and got another contract from the Detroit Lions, I believe. But we can't
And
throw
got to-
away.
and got to
We
his
can't
pension.
throw away. There's a guy named Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Battered and bruised. What? Come on out, man. We got some for you.
That's our mission, man.
That's who we are.
That's what we were created to do.
Why are we shooting at folks when we that wounded?
We're not going to do it over here.
Hey,
And now
man.
we're not going to shoot. We're going to block.
That's why I'm
Take
comfortable.
those.
That's why I get my legs crossed when I sit right here with y'all. Because I'm comfortable like that.
And for the record, y'all, Coach dresses from the floor up.
I just
Yeah, from the floor up, exactly, yeah,
Just
no
most
doubt.
people go up down. I'm from floor up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Coach, like
I need
Chuck
that
said,
red too. I don't have that red. See, I got it in blue. I don't have the
You got
red
the red.
sweatshirt.
You got the red.
No, I don't have the red
No,
sweatshirt.
you got the
though.
red coming.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you got the red. I'm telling you what. Shout out to Campus Activity.
That's
black
it.
owned, black female owned business. HBCU.
They doing it.
SWAC
Yeah,
owned.
they
doing it.
Doing it.
And,
I'm proud of
she
y'all.
gets it.
I'm proud of y'all.
She gets it.
Yes,
She
she does.
sends her stuff, and we highlight Alexis behind the camera with hers on, and we got a red sweatshirt coming, Coach.
I
Brown.
got you. I need it too. Give me a large because I like it snug on the shoulders.
You've been 21 days of prime.
You know,
Every
hey,
21 days.
I'm too ready for Miami.
I'm
getting ready for Miami because I'm contemplating right now. I had a meeting with Under Armour yesterday, Zoom call about, apparel, make sure we straight for the season, make sure all the kids are comfortable. But I told them I want a sheer shirt for the first game.
Coach.
I'm just joking. I'm joking now. I'm joking on that one. No, but I got to be right because when I'm coaching, I'm in my coaching man, and I'm pointing like that. I want you to be able to hit that.
What is that? That'll blink. Yeah.
And when I go to the knees, I want you to be able to hit everything. Hit me on point. I want to be
see,
right.
That's
Sure.
why I tell them, Coach. See, they got me jammed up over the day. I'm what you call front fine. See, if I hit them straight on, they be like, man, Neely sexy.
Let me look at you. Go ahead. No, get back. Let me see.
I'm front fine.
You front
fine. I give him that. That was the prop star.
Yeah, it's a little better in the front. But you look good though.
Do y'all see how much fun I have with these?
You look good. I ain't never heard front fine.
I got to go with him. Straight ahead.
And so you got to understand that's a different walk too. Like as we start winning, I get a little more bow-legged. Because you know, back in the late 70s, early 80s, bow-legged was in.
Like,
you see that? You see Celestine walking with them bow legs? That's her name was Celestine. Celestine.
Oh man, we looking forward to a big ball.
Now y'all will mess me up. How can I go sit down with anybody else now?
It's family, man.
Hey, that's family over here. This is what you want over here.
Appreciate you. I need to see you a little more now, dog.
No doubt.
Okay.
He had because he had to keep that professional swagger. You get on the camera, play a little bit. Chuck is always.
Coach, you'll see me.
I just need to see you a little more.
No doubt.
Because I need you. Cause I'm gonna tell you what I want, and I told Neely this.
Okay.
It got to get to the point where whoever we're doing the broadcast that week of the game, they're gonna have to sit down with y'all because y'all know us better than everybody.
Sure.
And y'all know some of the inside stuff
we do.
that I may not tell them because I don't trust them, but
Trust us.
Trust y'all.
We appreciate that
We
trust.
appreciate that, Coach.
Much love, baby.
Coach, get out there and kill them some more, man.
Thank you,
I'm finna get bow-legged on them.
Y'all get this walk off now.
I know.
That's still in the shot.
Show the bow leg. Neely, Charles Bishop, Coach Prime, pregame show here on the Black College Sports Network.
We got Nyles, Gaddy, and Shedeur Sanders can join us for a segment at some point, so can't leave the two players out.
Sure thing.
But we're going to be back.
We'll be back.
Black College Sports Network is streaming live on all sorts of platforms, but we're going right now on the pregame show, Jackson State Sports Show. Charles Bishop.
Neely.
My man.
My man.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
We are back. For the first time in 62 years, the Florida Memorial Lions will hit the gridiron, and their home games will be streamed by the Black College Sports Network at www.fmuathletics.com, www.mybcsn.net, and on the MyBCSN app, available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It was a monumental game for A&M and Tampa. It was a monumental game. Somebody had to lose, and thank God it was them this time.
We knew it was going to be a battle. Look at Jake Ave's record. 202 and 36, I think, some off-the-wall figures.
And nobody would play him because they didn't want to take a chance of getting beat. But the truth of it is,
over 46,000 tickets. Blacks were sitting in the east stands. Whites were sitting in the west stands, and the score wound up 34-28.
The only thing we proved that we wasn't inferior, that we were not inferior, and we were not afraid.
For one night, for 160 minutes, we was better than them.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network, online at www.mybcsn.net, and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
Hello and welcome back to SWAC Media Day. Making sure, is my mic up? Number 4, we turn up, boom, boom, boom. We're here, we're there. Black College Sports Network, man, along with the entire crew. You know, we want to first say thank you to all of you gentlemen for contributing and being a part of the vision, the dream, and the goal that we all share, which is bringing HBCU athletics and sports to the forefront. Of course, joining us right now, Charles Bishop, who is a member of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, as well as the Pregame Show. Just finished seeing him and Neely kick it with Coach Prime. Hilarious. And of course, it is the man, the myth, and the legend, the dean of HBCU Sports himself, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil.
I thought that was my tag. Now you're giving it to Doc.
No. He's the man, the myth, and the legend. You're the legend and the voice.
Oh, my goodness.
This is Brian Fulford, of course. The voice of the BCSN since day one. And he was the first person you heard, the first person you saw doing it. And one of our new members to the squad, joining the team, Mr. Carlos Brown.
I'm the rookie, but I'm a team player.
There it is. There it is. So, hey, listen, folks, right now, what we are about to do, it is that time to get into us talking about the predicted order of finish for the different conferences. So before we put it up on the screen, I'm going to give the official one that the Southwestern Athletic Conference decided to do. I'm going to start with the Western Division, all right? Because we want to save the Rattlers.
West side, the best side.
So
definitely the toughest side.
Yep. Definitely. So the official starting, and we're going to start from bottom and go up. They have Arkansas Pine Bluff, Prairie View A&M, Grambling State, Southern, and Alcorn. So let's talk a quick minute about that and get some responses. We'll start with the rookie first. Carlos, what you got, man?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, as always, to get to see everybody. It's been kind of over a year.
Yeah.
To kind of see each other again, so I'm happy for that opportunity. Western Division. Some would say the tougher division. But the official predictions, of course, they champions.
You know those FAMU folks and the Jackson State folks in the East, they curl up. But do your thing, because I'm with you, bro. I think the West is the best.
Well, yeah, and the Western Division, the defending champions from 2019, Alcorn State Braves. I'm not surprised by them getting the nod on that side. Southern University, well, they're champions of being a runner-up, being the second best team, whether it's overall in the division. They're built in the championship mode, so coming in at number 2, you're absolutely right. I can agree with that prediction. Also, Prairie View at 3. I like to agree with Coach Dewey. Offensively, we know that they can really score a lot of points. Defensively is where they want to improve. And then Grambling State University, talking to Coach Fobbs earlier, he just said, we're not going to be down. And so each and every week it's going to be a battle. So that's kind of some of my preliminary thoughts on this.
Charles, what about you, man?
I'm shocked that UAPB is down so low.
I
mean, we're looking at a team that played in the SWAC championship in the spring, and for them to get the disrespect that they did, I mean, they're one team off the bottom, and they just played the SWAC championship game, and they still bring Skylar Perry back. So, those are things that kind of jump out at me. And then a playmaker like Tyron Ralph. I mean, they have legitimate playmakers and threats and an offensive line that was beating people up in the spring. So I'm a little shocked by that, by UAPB down so low.
Let me ask, how much of that is, I had started hearing rumors when people talk about UAPB. I heard things people say, well, obviously they lost Ballard, the wide receiver.
They lost Ballard, yeah.
But and I don't know, and I had heard something, and I haven't confirmed this. This is just what I heard, that there were some coaching changes in the staff and some other people. But then I heard Dr. McClelland say, they're returning a lot of people. So I don't know. I haven't gone through their media guide to see what's the full number of returners. But I wonder how much of those rumors factored into people's perception in ranking them where they put them.
I think like everybody else, they had some roster turnover with guys entering the transfer portal. Lost the quarterbacks coaches, now offensive coordinator at Mississippi Valley. So I think those are the sorts of things that kind of played into it. But it's the talent on the field that takes care of all that. So they still got talent.
I'm with you, Charles. I just was amazed that Arkansas Pine Bluff would fall to number 5. Well, you say if they need to be moved up, who goes down? Grambling. I still think Grambling is in search of a quarterback. Yeah, they probably will have a lot of talent. This just goes back to what you know with brand names. This is nothing more than a brand name, Grambling, that people can't believe that Grambling will be down that long, and people do not believe that Arkansas Pine Bluff is legitimate. But for us to study this, we understand that Pine Bluff, the Golden Lions, were ascending 2 years ago.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
We saw them beat Tennessee State on the road. We saw them play Southern and a couple other teams really close. Prairie View, so we seen them get some big wins, taking out Jackson State in terms of those matchups and playing right there with Grambling. So we knew that even in the spring that they would be a serious team. And when they were able to get it done on the road against Southern, we knew that
turn heads.
The time had probably arrived, and then they backed it up with Grambling, and they rolled it all the way up, and were literally a couple of plays away from winning a championship in the spring. So that team is significant. But what all this boils down to is that when the schedule started rolling out, I remember all the chatter. DJ Jones talking to Mike. Everybody kept saying 3 or 4 games. They were like, man, did you see that schedule? You see those 3 or 4 games?
Yeah.
Well, you thought it was just one schedule. Next schedule came out. Hey, hold on. Did you see these 4 games? 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
Or 4 out of 5 games. Then by the time you got to the 5th schedule, you said, oh, this is just the new SWAC.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough in the SWAC, as the proverbial Facebook page would say. And that's essentially what you get. You can throw this all out the window when it comes down to it. It's nice for us because we get to talk about it.
Yeah.
And we'll get a little further indication because we'll see who was so close as I teased these guys before they came over here. We'll get the chance to roll it out.
Well, and that's what we're about to do, folks. So we've seen what the official SWAC, SIDs, it's just the SIDs or SIDs,
no, it's SIDs and coaches.
Okay. So the SIDs and coaches have had their vote. But we would not be the Black College Sports Network if we didn't do the way too early preseason stuff, because normally we don't do preseason. So, Aaron, let's make sure that we run that that as an overlay. So let's pull that west overlay up so the folks can see what the caterers thought. Yeah, just push it over to 1. There we go. So we're going to start over on the left side here of our left and see how they had it comparably. So we're going to start with Mr. Brown there, and he had Southern, and we think there might be a little biases there. Just a little bit. Alcorn, UAPB, of course, he's got up there. And then Prairie View A&M, Grambling, and Texas Southern. So,
and I want to be clear here. The only reason I have Southern where I have them is because I actually have them losing to Grambling in the Bayou.
Whoa.
And that's, yeah. Yeah, I said it.
That's 2021, bro.
Oh, yeah. I said it. I said it.
You know what, though?
And that's the only reason I have them where I have them and not number 2. Yeah.
Well, you know,
Sorry about that, Mike.
No. But the spring season, it was historic, but you got to have a short memory. You got to be like that DB that got burned on the touchdown play.
Yeah.
The spring was the spring. But it's going to be like that. So it's going to be a war every week.
And Grambling was close. Grambling probably should have won it in 2019. Obviously, they didn't. They've had a couple opportunities. I mean, I'm just saying it's. When you shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I mean, when a team is down, and you got in that rivalry, there's gonna be a lot in these classics. There's gonna be a shift in some of these classics.
We say it all the time. If you have a quarterback in this league, then you're 3/4 of the way there, and that's the question mark that I have of Grambling in terms of who's going to lead.
I'm trusting in Fobbs though. I'm gonna print the shirt.
That's fair.
I'm gonna get the shirts printed.
That's
in
fair.
Fobbs, thank you. I like that. In Fobbs, I trust. I'm gonna take it as he saw what happened in the spring. He's gonna fix it. He's not all about the extra talk that's going on out there behind us. He's gonna fix it. So Graham fam, I got a feeling.
I believe in Fobbs, but I trust what my eyes see on the field. And I don't see it.
Okay.
But if I would stand corrected, I did have Southern number 1. Maybe that was just a little bit of the brand in me. But if I had to go with anybody, B.J. Jones, I know he'll get a chance to jump in here a little later. But he's the football guru. So if he has Alcorn up there, maybe I need to
Two
think
like
twice.
minds. I like BJ already. I haven't had a chance to talk to him in depth. I already like BJ Jones.
Am I the only one that has Alcorn 3? Oh, no, I see you, Dr. Ville.
No, I already have Alcorn. I have Alcorn pick 1.
I like the fact that you put Pine Bluff up there. It's 2.
Yeah.
But, I snuck up there with Prairie View. I think there's going to be some oil in the tank there, and they are closer than what people think.
Sure.
In terms of their move, they lost Story Jackson on the defensive side, but I think they're going to continue to get better on the defense. And they're not necessarily the 100 like everybody else. So
Sure.
I think they'll have the ability to sneak up on some teams because people are going to be focused on Southern, Alcorn, and Pine Bluff.
One of the things I look at least with Alcorn, I think when we were going into the 2020 season before it got wiped out, they were going to be replacing 4 starters on the offensive line. And watching Alcorn over the past few years, that is where they've been dominant, and they've kept reloading and reloading. So that was a question mark, at least for me, with Alcorn. Of course, they bring back Felix Harper, but the guys up front to protect him was one of my huge question marks with the Braves moving over to the West.
Last time before we go to the East, one thing is consistent about everything we see here.
I was not going to say that. I was going to let the obvious be the obvious, and we weren't going to mention that. But yes.
But look, I honestly I will say this. I think that's a lot in part because not only us, but probably a lot of these people in the media don't know what Southern's going to bring. And I think I got the sense from Coach McKinney 2 years ago in his first year, he doesn't share a lot. He's not sharing, at least then. So he keeps everything close to the vest. And so,
they're
and all these folks
in our backyard. The one thing that I will say about Texas Southern the last 2 years is that they have quietly recruited really well.
Yeah.
Now the question is, are those young Tigers, are they ready to really growl? Now, B.J. Jones would tell you, no, not so much. But that's the thing that I think we would have to question. Are those freshmen and sophomores now, are they ready to transition to sophomores and junior and really show the talent that on paper many people thought they were in terms of where they
if somebody gets caught looking ahead, when you've got Texas Southern, you will lose to them. I don't know when, but somebody who has a big game coming up, and then you got Texas Southern, that proverbial trap game.
Yeah.
That's the team that might catch somebody.
And if you watch Texas Southern, they're normally in games, and there's this catastrophic something that happens without fail. There's a turnover here or a turnover there at the wrong time, and it seems to doom them. But top to bottom, they are a pretty talented team. Yeah.
So here's what we're going to say on that. Every week is going to be a classic or homecoming environment in the SWAC from here on out.
Yeah.
So before we switch over and go to the East, these two gentlemen aren't going to be here, so I'm going to give Charles an opportunity and Carlos to say their last words. I think I already know. You know what? We're going to let you go first, Carlos, because we're pretty sure what Charles is going to have to say before he gets out of here.
Well, Charles Bishop, my friend, my colleague, and Jackson State, he's my most famous Jackson State person. And I say that honestly. We've kind of said in this segment, it is going to be a battle every week. The big question is, the teams that are picked at the top, that are built for success, how much pressure is that on them to sustain that and meet their benchmarks and their goals? Alcorn State, the defending champion, quietly, no one's really talking about it.
Yeah.
But they're the defending champion, so they're going to have a full season in 2021. Let's see how they will do. But every week, you're going to have to come to battle. And I'll ask you guys a question. You can dialogue a little bit later. 2 losses in the conference. I've been talking to coaches, and I initially thought 2 losses in the conference, you're going to be out of it. But some of the coaches saying not necessarily.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of the competitiveness and so
I don't think you can lose more than 2. Put it like that.
Yeah.
Could we see a 3-team loss in the conference?
Yeah, I think so.
But 2?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see these undefeated and one-loss teams making it to the championship. I think those days are over.
Yeah. Parity in the league. I think that's definitely one of those things that you have to take a look at. I mean, one of the exciting parts for me is, and we've talked about the roster churn that all these teams have done, and it provides a layer of unknown. I take a look at a team like Jackson State. That is not going to be the same team that we saw in the spring. So they probably, were ranked where they were fairly. But, I mean, this is a completely different team, and that's part of the excitement, at least with Jackson State. So you take a look across the board. There have been enough guys transfer in, transfer out, where you kind of are unsure, and that provides the level of uncertainty that's, a good and bad.
And what was that number we talked about? I asked you, I said, how many new faces or transfers have there been? And you said,
I mean, when you take a look at guys coming out and guys coming in, there was about a roster term of about 30+ some odd players.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Guys, and that's interesting because talking to some of the players, they told to me about 60% of the winning season is in the locker room. Mm-hmm. Chemistry, continuity. And you look at some of the teams, Alcorn, they really brought everybody back. And a few guys in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
I mean, Southern basically their whole team back minus a few people. How important is it to have that team already back, no major injuries, and you hit the ground running?
Yeah.
And there you have it, folks. The western side of the new SWAC that we were talking about. We're going to take us a quick break. We're going to switch out a couple of pieces, bring in some more prognosticators, and let them get into this. So we'll be right back, right here on the pregame show inside the HBCU Sports Lab with the Carlos Brown Show and the Sports Wrap on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
We are back. For the first time in 62 years, the Florida Memorial Lions will hit the gridiron, and their home games will be streamed by the Black College Sports Network at www.fmuathletics.com, www.mybcsn.net, and on the My BCSN app, available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Because I had Prairie down there. That's what it's mad about.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome back to the SWAC Media Day. Y'all just don't know the things that go on in between the takes and the live things that happen in the conversations. Joining us now, we have Mr. Mike Washington, who is, of course, inside the HBCU Sports Lab, and microphone.
1876
Sports and Culture. You're giving a shout out. I appreciate that.
Oh, we got to.
Go handle it. And then our next free agent, as I was sitting in the office and was instructed, you have just picked up the best free agent in the game.
No doubt about it.
Okay, Mr. PJ Jones, what's happening, bro?
Hey, how y'all doing, man? Glad to be here.
Yes.
All right.
The football guru. You see what he wearing. I like that.
I prefer the HBCU whisperer.
I love that.
So let's go ahead and jump right into it now. As we're going to hold off on the graphic for the East, but we're going to go ahead and read what the SWAC SIDs and coaches go. Starting again from the bottom going up. Mississippi Valley State, Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Jackson State, Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University that sits upon the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee, Florida, and Alabama A&M.
You got an intro there.
Can we all get an intro like that?
No, you cannot. But let's talk about that person. So we're gonna, since Mike called you the HBCU Whisperer, we're gonna let BJ kick us off in this segment.
Hey, if you look at what Alabama A&M did in the spring offensively, they were nothing short of amazing. You look at what Akil Glass did with that receiving core. Offensively, they looked solid. Offensive line looked a lot better in the spring compared to what they looked in 2019. The question for Alabama A&M has always been, what can they do on the defensive side of the football? Can they make enough stops? Can they force enough impactful turnovers, to go through a season? And they were able to do it last year. And what they've been able to do since the spring in the portal is get better defensively.
Yeah.
And that has been the question for Alabama A&M. I like what they're bringing back. I like the pieces that they've added during the spring. So I can see why they're at that number one spot. But I'm going to tell you on paper, Florida A&M is a scary football team. And I promise you, Marquise Bell might be the best defensive player in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
All right. Mr. Washington.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that much. I think I may have picked Florida A&M at number one.
Well, we're going to pull that up.
Really?
All we're going to do is talk about what they did first, and then we're going to...
Man, look at that.
One thing that we can't forget that in 2019, they were self-proclaimed HBCU.
They were not,
self-proclaimed.
No, they weren't self-proclaimed. Black College Sports Network claimed them as the national champions.
Most people from the West will say that they self-proclaimed. Let's flatten the table. Let's say they're bringing together a strong team. They don't have Ryan Stanley, but on paper, if you look at some of their recruits, some of the folks they've gotten on through the what I call the college turnstile, they've bought in a plethora of receivers and DBs. So I think they come into the SWAC East a very strong team. I don't think that there's going to be a question at quarterback, even though Ryan Stanley is gone. So I actually think that they're a top team. Alabama A&M still has that top receiving core. I do agree that they have to stiffen up that defense a little bit, but let's look at it. Some of these teams won't be the same. So they have a good receiving core, but they're not the only kid on the block with that kind of gun. Jackson State's going to have a tough receiving core. Even UAPB over in the West is going to have a tough receiving core. So can they do the same thing offensively, but can they notch it up a little bit on the defensive side?
Like, one of the things that people tend to forget with all of the hype about the recruiting class that Coach Prime has brought in at Jackson State, is in 2020. Shotgun had the #1 recruiting class in all of HBCU football, right? Doc, what's your thoughts on this East setup?
I think they had it about right. I think it goes back to, in terms of who had it on the field, they won a championship. It's a talented team. FAMU, for whatever reason, made the choice not to play in the spring. And we'll see how that plays out. But until they show it on the field, in terms of the last people that have done it, I think Alabama is there. B.J. Jones told you that it's not like they gotten any worse. They gotten better. Now, FAMU's probably would argue they gotten better. But right now, I would have the edge at Alabama A&M versus FAMU because they did it on the field. And I like the fact, this is still in a lot of ways a quarterback league. They have a quarterback that is not questioned. FAMU, to some degree, we're figuring out, much like I said earlier about Grambling, who's going to be the quarterback. Now, can they get that right? Probably likely so. But right now, I would lean to the quarterback that is the predicted player of the year, is why I edged out everybody with Alabama A&M.
All right. B?
Talking about quarterbacks, FAMU, along with Bethune and Jackson State, and I think Grambling, are the only schools that really come into this fall either with a new quarterback or a real big uncertainty about quarterback. I kind of charted everybody's quarterbacks. The other 8? The other 8 teams, they all have a returning quarterback, or at least in Alcorn State, you had somebody who was there in 2019 that's back. So, yeah, for FAMU, they've got to figure out the quarterback situation. I mean, there's guys on the roster, young men. I don't want to make guesses on who it's going to be, but I know that's the big question in Tallahassee. Who's going to be the quarterback? Once they resolve that, and we've got the right guys, Simmons, Coach Black, two strong quarterbacks, and once that gets figured out, watch out for FAMU.
I agree. The only thing is they got to figure it out pretty fast.
Oh yeah, real fast. But the good thing is they're going up against a true freshman, an incoming freshman. So it kind of is like, hey, at least there's that.
True. Well, I think one of the other things, guys, that you have to think about with that is that just like as Mike Washington calls them, opt out you, we didn't see Florida A&M in the spring. We don't know what they've been doing on campus.
That what he called? He called him opt out you? Really?
Yes, he really
okay.
Does.
Wow.
So,
he called him that now. He did.
You think I'm just hard on you?
No.
But so that's the thing. They have been under the radar. We have no idea what's going on campus. We don't know what's happening in practice.
But can we say the same thing for Alcorn State? They've been dormant for a while. They're bringing back a lot of their starters, including the quarterback, yet we're willing to give them that.
Hold on, let me say something.
But that's my point. That's my point, that they are there, and we're saying that they're an unknown quantity. Right. But we don't know even with the changes that have been made. Because everybody has gone through the portal.
Hold on, here's something we're missing. We're missing here. For Alcorn and FAMU, they actually didn't have an unusual spring. They actually had the same spring that they would have had any other year. You didn't play 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7 games. You had 20-something practices and a spring football game.
True.
That's what always happens in the spring, right?
But they also didn't have a fall.
That means guys are rested. I don't know. No one had a fall. No one had a fall.
But somebody had spring.
Because they had no fall.
But that's the question. But I think the bigger thing, and I'd like to get B.J. Jones' thoughts on this, is I think what's going to be interesting in these divisional races is those intra-divisional games that some teams will play and other teams won't. I think that's going to be a bigger framework in terms of who finishes up in the division. Because you'll have some cases where you have some head-to-head matchups, and they will be able to put themselves in good position in their division because of those wins. But the way it lines up is you play those teams outside of your division, and everybody's not going to play them. That's going to be intriguing because in a lot of the ways that's going to be a part of the fallout. What's your thoughts on that?
Hey, the biggest thing, we start looking at schedules. We were just talking about Alabama A&M. No Southern, no Alcorn. You talk about those cross-divisional games, they actually came out pretty good. So I'm looking at Alabama A&M. You can look at the month of October for them. They have Jackson State coming in for homecoming. Florida A&M coming into Huntsville, Alabama. You have Alabama State, who they'll catch them Halloween weekend.
Yep.
Alabama A&M, depending on, because they're looking at FAMU and Jackson State to knock each other off week 1, they can be sitting very pretty, and by the end of October, they may have a real leg up in that Eastern Division race.
Very good point. I think the other point to really kind of keep in the back of your mind is that some teams may hit their stride at the end. There's not going to be any what I call winless. I don't see any winless teams either in the East or the West. So you take like Jackson State, who, freshman quarterback for the most part, they're going to have to hit warm. They're bringing completely new pieces on the defense. It's going to take some time for them to get in stride. They're going to lose one or two key games, but maybe hit their stride. You look at Alcorn State, it's the same thing. They, for the most part, they've had a relaxed year. It may take them one or two games to get the kinks out, as we always see in September. So the key is, can you win the right games and can you beat at the end of the season?
Good point.
All right, well, folks, we are having a ball here, man. It is definitely good to be back in the space with our brothers, being able to talk about football, knowing that we are going to see multiple games every Saturday. And be guaranteed that the Black College Sports Network will be bringing you some. But these guys talked about it. You're going to see the sports wrap. You're going to see the pregame show down in Miami Labor Day weekend. Some of us are going to actually be in Montgomery for the Red Tails Classic Labor Day weekend. Also, ASU playing Nyles that weekend. The Red Tails Classic will be Tuskegee versus Fort Valley State. We are going to be all over the country. I think we're going to get ready to go. I see the gentleman here. We're going to.
Are we going to do the preseason?
Oh, we didn't put our picks up. My bad. I'm sorry.
Or if we want to save it, because if we've got somebody coming
we can
up.
have Maynard, but put it up. I want Maynard, but put it up.
Pull it up. Go ahead and pull it up. So let's
have Maynard. I want Maynard.
Yeah, we got So here's the predicted order of finish that our team put together again. So, again, as we look at it, there are some things that seem to be very plain and simple and a consensus across the board.
Charles really
stays on script. Stays on script. I like that. Well, that business decision. You got to stay on script.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the reasons I did.
Brian,
we were not trying to have Charles in during this segment. So we wanted to make sure everybody had the opportunity to say something, and so hey.
One thing's consistent, the Valley pick.
Yeah.
It's like Texas Southern. Yep.
Valley.
Like Texas Southern.
So
we talking Valley.
So normally I don't vote and I don't do these things unless there's ties and situations like that. But I am looking at this, and honestly, and I'm gonna have to get Coach in here because I think a lot of people are sleeping on Cookman, and that's hard for me to say as a rap. It really is. I really think people are looking at Cookman, and they're going to be there. Cookman is going to be there. Because, see, now, of course, both of us being in the SWAC, the Florida Classic now means everything. Yes. And that last game of the season now means everything. And we give them their props or props are due. They've been taking us out to the woodshed, and a beating is a beating. I don't care how many points you lose.
Thank God that decade is gone.
Right.
That decade is gone.
So we're going to get ready, but we wanted to make sure everybody saw that. We're going to get ready to head out of here. We know Dr. Cavil is going to be getting ready to come in to close out with their last part of their show, getting some things in before they get going. But again, folks, we want to thank you for tuning in, checking out. Stay tuned. We got more coming up. Don't go nowhere. There's a little bit more that'll be rolling for you. And we'll be back real soon, right after this.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
And welcome back into the pregame show. Charles Bishop, Neely, we got two stalwarts here who are the representatives for Jackson State today, Nyles, Gaddy, and Shedeur Sanders. Welcome into the pregame show.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. First SWAC Media
Don't you
Day.
like how he started the interview? Like,
I know, right? How am I doing? first SWAC Media Day, how has it been for you?
It feels normal. You know, we always have cameras always around. You know, just growing up, that's just the lifestyle you live.
Yeah, no doubt. Now,
it's been great for me just to get a feel for the SWAC and get a feel for everybody's vibe in here. I like it so far, though.
Yeah.
So y'all been nailing the interviews, man. The folks have been coming by the JSU table. Then y'all just finished your big segment up on ESPN3, which was live. And there was a couple questions thrown y'all way to get y'all to bite the hook on a little smack talking, but y'all are clearly focused on what y'all have to do. Yeah. So what's the outlook?
I mean, the thing is, like, I'm not a player that talks about what I'm gonna do or care about really who we're playing. My main thing is just making sure, personally, I'm there. Yeah. Mentally, as a team, we're all bought in together. We all just know it's family. So it's like, it don't matter who the opponent is whenever we all bought in together.
And one thing you touched on up there, Shedeur, is that you feel like when you practice against the best defense you're going to face.
For sure. Yeah. We practice against the SEC defense.
Wow.
We in the SWAC.
Yeah, you heard it.
Make sure you get that. Yeah, no doubt. In terms of just those workouts and putting in that time in the off season, what does that look like for both of you guys?
You talking about like my off season?
Yeah. In terms of preparing yourself for this upcoming season.
Oh well, every day is really just about bringing it to the table and competing. Like if you don't go out there and push yourself, then I don't know how you gonna push yourself on that field.
Yeah.
Like if you got to push yourself every day, so we know it ain't nothing gonna be easy, ain't nothing gonna be given to us. Like that's why we don't go out there and talk smack and all that, because only real component we get, only real opponent we got is ourselves.
Yeah.
And we playing against ourselves.
And Nyles, I want to congratulate you because something got announced today. You know, the past couple of weeks, Coach Prime been saying I only got 2 starters. Shedeur Sanders, QB1, and Dylan Spencer was going to be starting on the offensive line. And today he announced, well, I got a third one. Yeah, so how did that feel to hear him say that on ESPN?
He knew that.
I know he knew it, but he knew it now it's public, though.
In practice, what he been doing to us, he know it.
Nah, it was crazy. Like, it's just crazy to be around. Like, sometimes you got to sit there and realize you're really around the Sounders. Like, you're really sitting here, like, on national TV. Sometimes I'll be sitting there, like, I'll be in a whole other world. Like, I'll be vibing off in a whole other world. But I'm sitting there like, dang, I'm really here. I'm really sitting here with Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, and I'm really finna play. Yeah. I'm really finna be on prime time playing FAMU. Like, it's crazy. And the fact he just announced me and gave me praise like that, all it does is push me more.
Yeah.
It motivates me. Some guys get comfortable with stuff like that. I'm trying to go to the top.
So you're not resting on that?
Nah.
Yeah.
You know, Neely touched on it. Both of you guys have had such a business-like demeanor in terms of tackling questions or whatever with regards to media day. But does that span across the team in terms of putting in the work and the business-like demeanor of knowing what's ahead?
Yeah, you know, we all came to Jackson State for one reason. But it is goofy people. You know how Nugget is. You know Nugget crazy. So just with the whole defensive mindset, it's just different. You know, D-line, they like killers. DBs, they talk, they do all that extra stuff. How CJ, Shiloh, how they are. They just, you know how it is. If you be in practice, you'll understand. They real
they
crazy.
Chirping out there.
Yeah, they chirping for sure.
Yeah, that's what we come to handle business. Like that's what they want us to understand. Everything is professional. Everything is business. Like they want us to run like almost like the NFL. If anything, like the NFL. So everything is business. When it's time to have business, time to have fun.
Sure.
And when you act to handle business, it turns into fun.
Sure.
9 times out of 10. So that's all we do. That's why it's easy for us to come out here and do this, because they prepare us to do stuff like this.
No doubt.
Well, 45 days or so. Chuck keep up better than I do. So let's call it 45 days to Orange Blossom Classic. That means about 42 days before we all head that way. Week 1, lights are bright, national TV. SWAC East opponent, you know, is opening up with a SWAC game. They saying, start with you, QB1. You're a freshman.
Definitely.
You're a freshman now.
What about it?
Man, you're a freshman.
Yeah.
That's a big moment.
Yeah, it is a big moment.
You ready?
I feel like I'm ready for it.
Yes, sir.
Whenever you do what you got to do to prepare for it, then it's just normal. It's just like practice.
You know, Shedeur and Coach Prime talked about how much of a help it was in terms of having this past spring season for you, watching it and watching the demeanor of the team and everything that went on. How much did it help you in terms of your progression as a quarterback?
It helped me, mentally. It took me through a lot of different things. It took me through, like, understanding the mindset of the players we had. So week by week, they're worried about the opponent, but I'm sitting here thinking like, we worry about Southern. Like we worry about small teams like that, and we had the opportunity to play bigger teams, higher teams with a lot more talent. So I learned a lot in this spring. I learned the speed of the game, a little bit different, but in practice going against SEC players, it really helped. It really helped me.
So same thing for you now. It's like you were on the sidelines. You could practice just like Shedeur, but you couldn't play in the games. What was it like, whether it was frustration or jubilation, to see moments like, man, I would have made that play, or man, I wish I was out there? What was that like?
Now, don't get me wrong, it was hard. Like, a few games, I was the ball boy. I'm on the other sideline talking a little stuff. I'm over there, yeah, man, y'all I ain't finna play. But, like, it was hard for sure. Like, it's hard sitting back watching my team, but all I can do is motivate and be there for them mentally and just tell them, like, we're just trying to calm them down, keep everybody cool. Yeah. That's the main thing. Like, Coach teaches us not to freeze, and that's what we can't be. We can't be jumping and freezing. We got to go out there and handle our business because can't nobody hold us down but us. Yeah. Well, I know the Tiger fans out there, man, through the pregame show are excited to hear from you two, offense and defense. But before we get out of here, it's still July. When we get back, we got our turf field coming online, and we'll be working out on campus. But August come and the pads come on.
Yeah, for sure. What that mean? I'm ready to go against this guy in practice. I'm ready for it. He think he been studying blocking our screens and all that. I got something for it.
Studying all that. I'm ready to put them pads on. That's what we all looking for. The whole team ready to put them pads on. Yeah. It's too much of being in the gym and jerseys and stuff. We need them pads on.
Yeah, we do need them pads on. So offense and keep defense. You crazy.
No doubt about it.
Good stuff.
We can beat defense down, man. We beat defense down. It's over with.
We know how this gonna go though. Offense. They sell the tickets. Defense win games, baby. You know what's going on.
Hey, you know what? It's good y'all have this good back and forth offense, defense. It's kind of like me and Neely back in the dorm when we were playing Madden with each other.
Yeah, man. Madden. Yeah, Madden. We won out there for real. Neither one built like that. Neither. I ain't Nyles Shedeur.
Right, exactly. Nah.
Somebody had to lead the cheers in the stand. Man. I had an important role in this thing. Don't diminish what I bring to the table, Chuck.
Definitely.
Yeah, I got 42,000 people on my back, man.
There you go.
Carrying this section. But speaking of that, man, we're managing this pandemic. Folks are, getting vaccinated, practicing social distancing, all those things. So we're looking forward to 100% capacity at the stadium.
For sure.
So this spring, y'all were on the sideline, and it was a crowd there, but it was nothing like what y'all seen on pictures.
But you got to understand, I came from a small private school. That was some fans to me.
Okay.
Those were a lot of fans to
one
me.
thing you touched on before when we talked, this is your first time having a band.
First time having a band like that, yeah. Yeah, it's different. It's different. It gets very loud, for sure.
Yeah. So now you're looking at, 42,000, 50,000 black folks in the stands.
So that equal 100. That equal 100.
So how you guys are talking about how prepared you are and up for the moment, and I know you're not focusing on that as far as your work ethic, but how much does that excite you to be able to perform in front of that kind of crowd, the sonic boom going, the fans going? Like, is that hit gonna be just a little bit hard?
I'm excited. I be in my room and all I hear is the band practicing. Like, it's like they don't sleep. They getting it just like I gotta get up and do some work too because they getting it harder than me sometimes. I be like, oh nah, the band is about 3 o'clock. They hitting it. So I'll be like, it's exciting though. I can't wait. I really can't wait to be in front of my own people and hear that band. So
yeah,
I just know it's gonna be a real special moment whenever we get out there. Everything clicking. The plethora of receivers we got. Man, not to mention, we got a first group, second group. The second group is the first group. So scout team gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I don't even want to peek the curtains back on all that. So I'm
gonna pull it back a little bit because we talked to Coach Prime. I was about to say his dad, but Coach Prime, since we're in this environment early, and when they do the 7-on-7s, the coaches are not around, but we're out there with the pregame looking at. I seen him get on them receivers now. He got a gun, and when they don't get it, he get them. So
it's a respect thing for sure. They know I got their best interest. So,
right.
And I know how to talk to different players. I'm not going to come crazy yelling at him if I know he doesn't respond well to that.
Sure.
So, I'm going to talk to him a certain way. But
I thought you were a freshman, man.
Whenever we get off the field, it's all love.
How do you manage that fine line between getting on guys or backing off?
You got to understand. You got to spend time with them. You got to know the different personalities. Like, Lotto, he crazy. The receiver, he crazy. Keith, one of them guys, you just got to say something small to him. You can't get on him. You don't need to yell at him because he's an older guy. He's mature. He knows what he's doing.
Sure.
So he just needs a little reassurance sometimes, and then that's it.
So unit to unit, defense, how do y'all pick them up? Offense, how do y'all pick them up? Are you challenging them to do more? Are you challenging them like, hey, man, give us some points now? Like, how's that dynamic work?
I mean, we do our smack talk, but I feel like whenever they score, they make a big play. Oh, that's time for us to get our head right. Oh, we got to go now. Like, nah, we tripping. Like
for sure.
Especially when they do some crazy stuff, like a crazy catch. Oh, nah, y'all tripping, man.
Yeah.
Y'all got to go.
That's who Keith Corbin is.
Lock in.
Yeah. That's who Keith Corbin is. I'm just ready to, just O-line versus D-line. We start doing team, so I can get a real feel for this game.
Yeah.
Where's some guys?
Now you're gonna have on either a green or red jersey.
Yeah, I'm gonna have on green. I'm gonna have on green. Yeah.
So Nyles, I know you're gonna get back there, but
you
gotta pull up a little bit. But you want to give them a little glimpse too. You want to, I'm right here. One of them ripped my shorts though in practice one time, just off a grab. I'm like, bro, how do you even grab and rip my shorts? I think one of the funniest things I seen in practice, I think it was Malik. He came around the corner. And he started walking with you. He walking behind you, just let you know I'm here. Like I'm right here with you too.
If I had on the same jersey, I wouldn't. I don't know how I'd have felt after that.
I tell you what, Neely, the competition aspect.
Yes, sir.
Back to this Jackson
competition and depth, man. We appreciate you guys joining us on the pregame show. Nyles, Gaddy, QB1, Shedeur Sanders. Hey, a lot more of these conversations take place this fall. We're gonna see y'all out there on the practice field in August, and definitely gonna see you in Miami.
Definitely.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
Bishop Neely here on the Black College Sports Network.
YT Productions.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson. And you gon' learn today, how your team they play, how they play, boy, you gon' learn today, how your team they play, how they play, yeah. We represent that SWAC, that MEAC, and let me say, what's up to